All right, now welcome to the channel. My name is Martin, and we are going to be taking a look at a game called The Forgotten Road. This is a solo game designed by Gabe Barrett, and it's going on Kickstarter November the 9th, 2021. So the purpose of this video is we're just going to do a quick preview, show you a little bit of how to play, and then at the end of it, I'll share a little bit of my impressions. So let me give you a quick overview of the game that you see before you on my table right now. So essentially, The Forgotten Road is a solo game, and what you're doing here in this game is you're going to go through 6 road cards. So you start out, well, first of all, you start out on the City of Lux. That's your starting point. And then you go out on the road. You do a little questing, and then you encounter some monsters, and you have to fight them, and then you have to move on to a different location. And the items that you're going to be using, basically the game components that you use to fight and move, are these cards over here at the bottom of the row that you see. And they're double-sided. They have a fight side and they have a move side, and they have values there. And essentially, to be able to fight, you need to have a discard cards whose cumulative values equal the value printed on the card of a monster. Like the shapeshifter, you would have to provide a fight value of 5 to defeat that shapeshifter. Now, to be able to move, you need to discard cards with a added total of or a sum total that equals these two numbers here. So there's a pretty nifty mechanism here where you take the road cards and then you put them together, and then you take a look at their combined kind of values to determine, for example, you would have to discard a 3 plus 4, so 7, to be able to move from this card to this card, to the Scorched Village. Now, this is a good time for me to mention that this is a prototype. This game is in prototype stage, so not all of the art is complete yet. As you can see, the Scorched Village right now is kind of no art there. Although it is a Scorched Village, so it might make sense that there's actually nothing there. But basically, that's the kind of the setup here. So I've explained to you about the road cards. Eventually, once you get through 6 road cards in the default kind of setup of this game, you'll get a road boss that you'll have to defeat. If you're able to defeat the boss, you then descend into a dungeon. So there are 6 dungeon cards here, as well as a dungeon boss at the end as well. You are a party of 3 adventurers. So here are your adventurer cards. We have Elora the Ranger, Reese the Warden, and Galathar the Shadow Knight. And as you can see, their art and their kind of like it's pretty cool how they look, how the characters look. So it's a pretty nice design. And here in the upper right of each card is how much health they have. So they each have 4 health. Now, if as you go along on your quest, your adventure, your characters are going to suffer damage. If all of your characters' health points are reduced to 0, then you lose the game. If your action deck, the action deck is where you draw these cards that are in your hand from to be able to do your fighting and your movement. If all of these run out, you lose the game as well. Now, however, that said, you have 1 camp token or campfire token. This gives you 1 opportunity to be able to take the discard pile, reshuffle, form a new action deck, and then keep on questing. But that's only once per game. So those are the ways that you can lose the game, by basically your characters losing all their life, or becoming incapacitated, as the rules say, or depleting your action deck. There's also a couple of merchant tokens that you're able to discard, although not while you're in the middle of a fight. But when you discard a merchant token, you're able to spend any gold that you've acquired to be able to purchase some items, some useful items to help you on your quest. Basically, some useful potions. So a potion of strength, and they all each have an ability. Basically, all of these abilities are 1 use per game, and then they're all done. All right, so let's go ahead and give that item deck a shuffle as well. So that's essentially the overview of this game. It's a pretty straightforward game, and I haven't shown you the dice yet. So there's custom dice here that provide icons that are going to help you resolve your skill checks that you have to perform. Basically, every time you're trying to resolve a card, you start a new turn, you have to resolve a skill check. All right, so that's the overview, and now we're going to do a little bit of a playthrough demo so that you get an idea of how the game plays. Okay, so let's play a few turns of the game so you get an idea. So every turn is comprised of the following steps. First, you draw action cards until you reach your hand limit of 5. Now, since we're just starting, we already have our hand limit of 5 here. And then you perform a skill check. So let's do that. The skill check, so we're starting in the City of Lux here. Here's our token. And reminder once again, this is all in prototype form. So what you see here on the table could very well change in the final form. So we start in the City of Lux, and we have to perform this skill check here, represented by these icons. And then, so essentially, we have to provide an icon of this talking kind of bubble charisma. That means charisma. And then you have perception. And if you're able to roll these icons with these dice, then we pass that skill check. Otherwise, we will suffer the penalty or the consequence. In this case, we would suffer 2 damage. And you can spread out that damage across your different adventurers. You have 3 of them who each have 4 health points. And if all of your adventurers are reduced to 0 health points, like I mentioned earlier, we lose the game. So let's perform the skill check, shall we? We're going to roll these dice. And, oh, looks like we were able to get exactly what we needed. We got the perception result, and we've got the charisma result. So we were basically able to notice what was going on, and then we were able to talk our way through the situation. And that allows us to go to the bottom part of the card, which is the monster, in this case, the shapeshifter. So let me explain what the components of the monster section are. This number here in the middle is the number of fight points that we have to provide based on these cards that we have in our hand to be able to defeat this monster. If we're unable to provide those or discard cards equivalent to those fight points, then we suffer a penalty of 2 damage. All right? So essentially now the game shifts to, we take a look at the cards in our hand and how are we going to be able to get those fight points. Now, the decisions here that we have to do are, you'll notice that the cards also have icons on them, because if you're unable to roll the die roll results the icons that you need to be able to pass the skill check, then you can augment your die roll results with by discarding your action cards, because they have icons on them as well. So for instance, if I hadn't rolled this charisma result and I still needed it because I didn't want to suffer that 2 damage, then I could have discarded this card, which has a charisma result on it. But you have to kind of be careful about it. You have to really think very well about what you're doing, about your movements there, because I could say, okay, I can discard this card with fight of 6 to be able to defeat the shapeshifter, but it will also deprive me of a 4 for movement, and I'm going to need 4 plus 3, 7 to be able to move to the next card later. And losing that 4, basically my highest value move card, you can't see it because it's stuck behind me, but even this card is about value 3, might make it more difficult for me down the road. So these are some of the tougher choices that you have to kind of balance here. But that's what we're going to do. Right now what we're going to do is we're going to discard this fight card of 6 to be able to defeat this shapeshifter. So we've essentially passed the fight portion of the fight step of the turn sequence. And so now we have to move to the next card, in this case the Scorched Village. And to be able to do that, like I explained earlier, we have to provide or discard move cards whose value is equal to or exceeding the value that's listed here, in which case 3 plus 4 is 7. So we have to take a look at all of these cards with their move symbols and basically say, well, which ones can I afford to lose the least? And the interesting thing is that you can already see 1/2 of what you're going to need for the skill check in the following card. It's already printed here, so we have an ability to kind of be a little bit tactical and foresee the future. I know that I'm going to need at least 2 charisma results, which means that I'm going to have to discard at least, well, 3 of these cards, basically, to be able to make all those move points. And I know that this one has a charisma result, so I probably want to hang on to that. This one has a charisma icon, so I probably want to hang on to that. So I'm guessing that I'm just going to get rid of this 3 here and this 3 movement here. That's 6. I have to make 7, so I'm going to get rid of at least 1 of these movement cards that has a charisma icon, and that kind of sucks. But it is what it is. And so that allows me to move to Scorched Village. All right. And once we've done that movement successfully and passed the skill check, passed the fighting, and did the movement, sacrificed or discarded the cards for the movement, now we're in the Scorched Village. Now we get to take the top card of the road deck and attach it to here. To the right of the card that we're currently in. And now we get to complete the picture of what is going to be required to do the skill check. And now basically this card is done and no longer factors into this game. So I'll move it aside. I mean, it might be cool to just leave it there so you get kind of a sense of where you've been, and you're building you're building a journey as you go along. Including what lies ahead of you, and then what you've already been through. So now that we're at the Scorched Village, we've completed all of the steps. We've done the skill check, fight, and move. We've drawn and placed the next location card. So now we need to go back to the start of the steps, and the first step is draw action cards until you reach your hand limit of 5. All right, there we go. We've reached our hand limit. And so now what we need to do is we know that we need to get at least 2 charisma results on our dice. Otherwise, the consequence we suffer is this icon here, which is very bad. Basically, this icon means you need to incapacitate one of your 3 adventurers. You need to flip them over. And that's not good, because if you flip over an adventurer, then you can suffer less damage, and you have 1 less adventurer in your party. You're that much closer to dying, right? So let's see. Let's do our skill check, and let's see if we're able to get at least those 2 charisma results. We're unlucky in that we get 0 charisma results, so that's not good. So now, if we don't want to incapacitate one of our characters, we are forced to make up those icons from our cards, right? So over here we have a charisma result, and then over here we have a wild. So a wild can stand for any result we need. So if I discard this card and this card, that is going to satisfy the skill check requirement and allow us to move our token down to the monster section of the card. That kind of sucks, but that's what we're going to do. And now it means that we have fewer cards to be able to deal with what comes next, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So now we move our token down here. We're up against a Firewolf. Oh, and by the way, by defeating the shapeshifter, we earned $1. So let's take one of these tokens, and we'll put it right there, meaning that just telling our party that we have 1 gold. Forgot to get our reward. So now we're up against the Firewolf, and we have to give it fight value, discard fight value of 4 or more. If we are not able to, we will suffer this penalty. This icon basically means that we're going to have to discard one of our action cards. Let me make sure that that's exactly what that icon means. I'm going to take a quick peek at the rules here. I'm pretty sure that's what it means. Nope, I can't see it. All right, well, we're going to, oh, here, I found it. Discard this many action cards from the game. So that's absolutely what that means is if we're not able to do this, we have to discard one of our action cards, making it even harder for us to move. Now, so here we go. Here's what we need to do. We need to make up to a fight value of 4, which we can do with this guy here. Let's look at our fight values here. This guy over here can give us a fight value of 4, thus defeating the Firewolf rather. So that's what we're going to do, and we don't have to discard one of our cards, so we defeat that guy. Now we have to deal with our movement, which is 5 plus 2 is 7. So if we take a look at our cards, that is exactly how much we have. We have 4 plus 3 is 7. So we are going to discard these 2 cards. We have just enough, to be able to move to Grimwood. So our journey so far is we started in Lux, and then we traveled and we encountered a shapeshifter, and then we were able to pass that. We got to a Scorched Village, where we were able to talk our way through and, get through that location. We saw the Firewolf. We were able to defeat it, and we earned another $1 from defeating our Firewolf. So now we have $2, and now we go to Grimwood. And Grimwood, for us to be able to advance there, we know that we're going to have to get 2 perception results in the skill check. So let's do that now. Let's take the next card in the road deck, and if we are not able to pass that 2 perception results in the skill check, we will have to discard one of our action cards. So that's going to suck. Also, we haven't yet drawn back up to our 5 action cards. All right. And then essentially, so you get the idea, right? You have to perform a skill check. The skill check involves these dice, and then you have to fight, and the fighting involves using these fight cards here, which basically you have to give up. You have to discard as many cards to be able to equal that fight value of that monster. Ooh, this Lesh is a 9 hit point monster, so that's pretty tough. And then if you're able to pass that, then you have to perform a move using your same action cards. So the cards have fight on one side and then move on the other. And they also have those icons. So there's a delicate balancing act that you have to do of which card should I get rid of? Do I get rid of this now? How is it going to affect me later? So I'm going to pause right now. Because I've played 3 or so turns, and you get an idea of how this game flows, right? And I would say that, in my opinion, it's a pretty nifty game. It's pretty straightforward, but it also has some nice little touches. Like, I like the fact that you're able to see, you're able to predict what die roll results you're going to need later on, and that allows you to do a little bit of tactical planning in terms of which cards am I going to hang on to and which cards are okay to discard for it, just in case I need to, in case of the dice don't come up my way. So there's a little bit of being able to supplement your die roll results with your cards, and also being able to use the abilities, the one-time use abilities of your adventurers, and also the items that I didn't get a chance to show you how to purchase them. But basically you would discard that gold to be able to purchase items that give you one-time buffs or abilities as well in the game. And you've pretty much seen everything that there is to see about this game. So that is my quick preview and demo of The Forgotten Road, which is hitting Kickstarter on November the 9th. This has been Martin. Thanks for watching.